Level 80, whence the healing springs. Ryo Senna seems in a nostalgic mood. Ilya, how fare you in your studies of the white? I sense your magics have grown even stronger since last we met. Speaking of old acquaintances, do you recall Alaka, the Ori girl responsible for the taint and its corruption? As a form of atonement, she has begun training in the art of conjuring. Maybe you could stop by Stillglade Fane and look in on her for me. I am sure she would be glad of the visit. You might also come across Gaddy whilst you are in town. Considering her unorthodox upbringing, my fellow Padril has been given leave to roam somewhat more freely than might otherwise be allowed. Do give my regards to her and Sylphie, should you see them. All right. The Conjurer's Guild. Kitty. Silly, Ryo Senna sent you to see me? Ah, I thought as much. I did not imagine you would seek me out of your own accord, considering how I once wished you dead. But I promise I have changed. I am doing as they ask of me. At least I am trying to. My attempts at curing spells are abysmal. I perform the exercises as the Seed Seer has taught me, but it would seem I am unsuited to the healing arts. Being an outsider, it is difficult for me to make friends here. Although there are two young ladies who do seem eager to include me in their chatter. There are two. Alaka, I didn't know you knew Zilly. Were you two talking about your adventures? I want to hear about adventures. Oh, me too, me too. Can we stay and listen? I suppose, if Zilly doesn't mind. Great, what kind of tale will you tell? The tale of a man who crossed time and space to save the world, and me. The tale of a woman who flew in the face of everything to save her beloved family. Aha. He must truly care for you, which I can completely understand. What a lovely story. I want to be able to do that to protect people, but I'm probably going to need a lot more training. And why don't we all go and train right now, together, and we can work on becoming just like the person Zilly told us about. Yes, that's a wonderful idea. Alaka, you and Zilly both have to come with us. It'll be so much more fun with the four of us. If you insist. I say we head out to Hedge Tree and practice listening to the whispers of the forest. Come on, everyone, follow me. Whispers of the forest. Shroud. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go. The Hedge Tree. Puff, puff, Zilly, the Ixal, they stabbed a sword into the hedge tree. The elementals really didn't like that. And before we knew it, we were being attacked by a treant. Must be some sort of revenge on Gridania. The Ixal are trying to cause panic or chaos, or Gaddy wanted to try calming the spirits, so we led Mr. Smashy Branches here away. I only just managed to take it down. My own conjury was too weak to be of consequence. Sylphie was forced to expend too much ether to ensure the creature's defeat. Don't worry about me, it's Gaddy who needs help. The elementals were furious, and there's no way she can soothe their anger alone. Please hurry, she needs you. Okay. Thank goodness. I pulled out the sword, but the elementals lashed out. They won't listen to me. Please, you have to calm them. If another one of those treants goes after Sylphie and Alaka. Gaddy, you look hurt. I want to heal you, but I've no ether left to cast spells. Alaka, you'll have to do it. Me, but I cannot. You must. Can't you see she's in pain? I want to help, but my conjury is so weak. I will try. No one should suffer so. You can do it. Thank you, Alaka. I feel so much better now. Your healing was like being wrapped in a soft, warm blanket. I am glad to hear that, Gaddy. To be honest, I did not expect the spell to work at all, but it did. Thank you too, Zillia. I never knew the elementals could get that mad. Phew, I have a long way to go before I'm as strong as you. Of course you do. Phew is a word for it. I think Brother Isumi owes us a reward after all that hard work. Oh, Sylphie. Alaka, I don't think I've ever seen you laugh before. This day really has been full of surprises. Thank you, Zilly. If you hadn't come along, I may have lost the first real friends I've ever had. That's what Zilly does. She's always our hero when we need one. That's right. In fact, both of you were heroes today. I would hardly say I was heroic. I'm serious. We need to tell Brother Isumi how incredible your conjury is now. Again, I think you praised me overmuch, but we should certainly report this incident and let him know you are safe and sound. Let's head back then. I think I'm ready for a cup of tea and a nice long nap. May I just find my place here after all? I may just find my place here after all. Listening to your tale earlier, I was convinced there was no one in my life I cared about that much, or who cared about me. Then I saw how Gaddy was hurt. I'd never felt my heart beat so wildly, never felt such relief as I did when my spell healed her. I wonder, was this how the people in your adventures felt too? I will continue with my studies, and then you should need me. Should any of you need me, I will be ready. Would you mind letting Raya know of my decision to stay on? I am a little embarrassed to display all this sentiment in front of the Seedseer. Camp Tranquil. You have returned to me with word of Alaka. Ah, I was of a mind to investigate the disturbance myself when it suddenly subsided. 'Twas fortunate you were nearby. I am heartened to hear that Alaka has at last awakened her talent for conjuring. I suspected it was not her potential nor lack of learning which stymied her progress, but a matter of confidence. Her shift in perspective was encouraged in no small part by your inspiring presence, I am certain. Ah, but do not allow such praise to deter you from perfecting your own art. The mastery of white magics is a road which never truly ends. I expect to hear ever greater things from you ere next we meet. Level 80, whence the healing springs, complete. Seeing White 4. Level 80, True Beauty. Alka-Seltzer appears to be on the point of setting out somewhere. It isn't Zilly in the flesh. It has been quite some time, hasn't it? Verstadt keeps me apprised of any tales of your heroism that reach her ears, and I must say they never fail to inspire me to reach for greater martial and tactical heights. I have thus been seizing upon every opportunity to hone my skills, be it through employment or study. In fact, I have an appointment with Surito Karuto shortly to review my mariner stratagems for securing thoroughfares and byways. Would you care to join me? Excellent. It will be a pleasure to train alongside you again. I shall meet you at Camp Bronze Lake. Surito Karuto awaits us there. Tonberries. Tonberries taste like tonberries. My, what a pleasant surprise. I was unaware that you would be joining us today. Heavens, is that Zilly I spy? Toto, a true pleasure to see you. Have you come for the exercises as well? Of course, it may have been well over a millennium ago that I began my studies, but I am still a student with much to learn. Though I am somewhat hampered by the small matter that is my inability to summon a fairy whilst trapped in this grotesque form. You are hardly grotesque, my lady, and I am confident that there is some way you might once again call forth a fairy. We need only find a way to tap the royal marine spirit within you. Come hells or high water. Aye, let us hope you are right. Doubt not that he is, but first, given how rare this opportunity is, might I suggest that we begin by asking Zilly to regale us with tales of her recent endeavors. There is much we might learn from them. Giot's growth, Lamet's journey, Lamet's journey. Lamet, she, and then Giot. I'm so proud of them. Lamet's drive to save her sister, no matter what it cost her. It reminds me of my father. I can scarce believe you traveled to another world entirely. Were it anyone else, I would doubt the veracity of their words, but I can only envy you. You must have gained much insight into the nature of our own star. The concept of stone blight fascinates me. Highly contagious, transforms the body. I cannot but draw parallels between it and Nemean plague. What were you able to discern about the magic utilized in curing it? Perhaps the application of a high concentration of ether, but how? Might crystals serve to amplify? Assuming so. It may work. The similarities of stone blight to our own affliction. This may well be the key to a cure for the Nemean plague. You mean to say that my body and my ability to cast healing magic could be restored? Precisely. It will be a complex process involving trial and error, of course, but I assume you are interested nevertheless. Very good. Your assistance will hasten the process considerably. Toto, I would have your aid in preparing the experimental compound. We will require instruments that allow for a high degree of precision. Alcazolco, you must consult an expert goldsmith to procure suitable supplies. I'm an expert goldsmith. I believe we might make use of our revival root as well, though I know of no better source of it than the aged tree ends of snake mold. It will be something of a walk, I realize, but can I entrust this task to you? Challenge befitting the Royal Marines, and to it we shall rise. Be the first time we'll have to kill anything in job quests we've done so far. I mean, you kind of do that during the role quest, so it makes sense that there wouldn't be like a ton to it. I'm a goldsmith. I could have done Alka-Seltzer's job. Really? Death mouse. Are you able to procure the root? Thank you. I expect this will be sufficiently potent. Now we only need wait Alcazolca's return, and apologies, I've only just escaped. I am acquainted with a goldsmith of some repute, and he agreed to fashion the instruments in return for my massaging him with salamander oil again. However, the goods themselves should be more than adequate. They're a bit oily, but presumably that will come off. In which case we can prepare the compound at any time. However, the matter of what follows is problematic. Problematic in what sense? Now, I'm fairly confident in my theory. The experimental compound is just that, experimental. I did state before that this process would involve trial and error. As the Nemean plague does not affect beasts, to test it on any but a tonberry is impossible, yet, as its ingestion will result in disruption to the body's ethereal balance, there is a possibility that the subject may find himself worse off than before. I have no intention of inflicting such a fate on any of my brethren, naturally, and so, should I be warped beyond recognition as a result, the task of destroying me will fall to you. You cannot honestly believe we would agree to that. I'll do it. Hey, what if you were to test it on me instead? Absolutely not. You heard what he said. The test subject might very well become a monster. I am prepared to take the risk. Well, I'm not prepared to let you. You would rather Suruto Karuto do it? The test does fail and he becomes some sort of abomination. Who would remain to continue researching the cure? It follows that I ought to be the subject. Do that. And I'm supposed to accept that? Yeah. Not your choice to make. Exactly. Please calm yourselves. The admixture will take some time to prepare. In any case, we can discuss this later when we have all had the opportunity to think. Fine, I will do my thinking elsewhere. It's all the same to you. I don't understand. I'm merely trying to prevent her from placing herself in harm's way. I believe you too would be well served by a reprieve, perhaps a bit of exercise. If you insist. This would be a far sight easier if they were honest with one another. You doubtless are aware Sateto is quite enamored of Alcazolka. She seems disinclined to pursue the matter, however, her current condition being what it is. But she raised a salient point. I would not have her volunteer if her primary goal is to remove that perceived obstacle. Were Alcazolka to be forced to slay her, only to later learn what it was all for, it doesn't bear thinking about. Now you go and speak with her. I expect that she is fuming somewhere in outer Lunasha. She has a tendency to wander when she's distressed. Mm-hmm. Way over there. The teleporter had known that. I apologize for my earlier conduct. I have no intention of changing my mind, though. My logic is sound. It is, but are the reasons you gave truly why you volunteered? Is it? Love makes us do foolish things. That obvious, is it? Since it's come to this, yes, I am in love with Alcazolka. And maybe were things different, I could be content with that. If we might walk hand in hand without drawing the attention of every would-be hero within 10 malms, my compatriots were just as free to pursue their own happiness. As it is, however, his insistence upon protecting me above all else, it chafes. I am no fool. I know the others, Alcazolka included, are stronger than I, and I am not so proud as to refuse aid on principle. But it's not enough to merely live insulated from harm. I've always wanted to help people, now more than ever, knowing firsthand the terrible toll this blight takes on all of us. It is not simply my own desires that make me so adamant. Truthfully, there is no more suitable subject on whom the cure might be tested. I had not yet seen 20 summers when I was afflicted, so if it has unanticipated effects, my body will be best able to bear them. Moreover, I was one of the last to fall to the plague before we entered our lengthy slumber, meaning my illness is less advanced. If this potential cure shows results, they will present in me most quickly. To say the thought that it could fail does not frighten me would be a lie, yet if there is means by which I might save my people from suffering, I cannot ignore it. You followed the path of the scholar, you understand, don't you? You do make compelling argument. Yes, I think I know the feeling. Thank you. Talking this through with you has helped me to clear my head. I believe I'm ready to speak with the others. Back to the Bronze Lake. Proceed. Ah, you have returned. How are you feeling? More confident than ever. You must test the cure on me. Alka, please, I am not making this decision in haste, nor do I take it lightly. Truth be told, I'm terrified. But I need to do this. Zilly agreed. It must be me. Yes, I must admit, your reasoning is sound. I appreciate that you worry for me, Alka. It means more than you know, but this is my duty, my battle to fight. You can trust me to meet this foe with all I have. I vow not to quit the field until the bitter end. But if the time comes when I am no longer myself, I need to know that my fate is in good hands, in your hands. As you wish, I will be at your side as any true mariner would, but know that I fully expect you to seize victory, come hells or high water. Well, thank you, Alka. Very well, if the both of you are resolved, I will abide by Satoto's decision. But before we begin, I must explain how the process is meant to work. First, Satoto will drink the compound I devised. This should destabilize the ethereal composition of her body. Once she has done so, Alkazolka, you must stand at the ready with this, the gemstone retrieved from Amdapor. It shall serve as a focus. Zilly and Lily will channel their restorative magic through the focus, amplifying it. In theory, being exposed to sufficient volume of curative ether will encourage Satoto's own ether to attune to it, set itself to rights. Let's do this. My Eos, I had Celine summoned. If all are clear on what must be done, let us commence. Oh, it burns. It burns. Kill it. Zilly, Lily, now. Oh, we were too early. Don't kill it yet. Fight it, Satoto. Ah, Pan, ah. Oh god, she's hideous. Ah. You are truly radiant, Satoto, inside and out. Oh, that's sweet. think, after all this time, the endless research, we have a cure for the Nimian plague. The Cerrito Corrito even managed to devise such a thing is remarkable enough, but to see it succeed, without Zilly's skill as a scholar, it never would have been possible. And Satoto, your kindness, your conviction, your strength of spirit inspires me to train with even greater fervor. That is so like him, and he's still utterly oblivious to my feelings, I'm sure. It's all right, though. I never truly expected to have another chance at the life I once envisioned for myself, and now that I do, I intend to enjoy it. There's no need to rush through all of the best parts. That goes for my vocation as well. I intend to relearn the scholarly arts, starting from the basics, and with my etheric balance restored, I should be able to summon Lilac properly. Someday we will be the salvation of those in need, I swear it. For the moment, however, I have much training to do if I am to be fit for the Royal Marines. To that end, I'm off to find Alka. We're just curing everything nowadays, aren't we? Having labored for so long, so fruitlessly, and then to see the cure realized at last, I find myself at a loss for words. I will need to monitor Satoto's condition for a time, of course, lest there be adverse effects that were not readily apparent, but this is progress, astounding progress, toward the day when we might see all Tonberries restored to their former selves. In the meanwhile, inexperienced in matters of the heart though they are, you needn't worry over much for those two. I have confidence that they will sort themselves out in due time. Fare you well in whatever world your travels lead you to, and thank you. Level 80, True Beauty complete. Yay. Level 80, Love astrologically. Something, mayhap the stars, tells you that Janakard would like a word or two. 100. You always seem to know the precise moment at which your services are required, such as the mark of an accomplished astrologian, if I do say so myself. Which would, of course, imply you are already aware of what I would ask of you, yet I shall indulge you with my request nonetheless. It is Master Rufin. Following our return from Kugane, she has been distant. Well, more distant than usual, enough to give one pause at least. Thought I might ascertain the source of her worriment with the deck of 60, but was presented the usual slumgullion of vague portents and portentous vagaries. By the time I have unwrapped my throbbing head from the spread, all I could discern was something about a dark wind blowing from the east. I suppose this could imply any number of things. Ill tidings from our allies in Doma, a rainstorm brewing over the Black Shroud, a fire at the fine patisserie near the Ark of the Venerable. Why, I suppose even you could be the Dark Wind. Ahem. No, right. Let us simply say I am worried about our companion, but am at a loss to how I might help her. Leveva has been spending much of her days up at the last vigil, staring blankly out over the sea of clouds. I've attempted speaking with her, but the lady is about as receptive to my concerns as one might expect. Perhaps, though, she would prove more forthcoming with her star pupil. Leveva. It will never work, and I was a fool to think. Oh, Zilly, just the woman I wanted to see. Might you remember Kyoku, lanky fellow, disheveled hair, somewhat capable in the geomantic arts? Well, it appears his travels will be bringing him once again to Ishgard. Seeing as he has provided me with a wealth of valuable insight into his discipline, the least I could do would be to greet him upon his arrival. Unfortunately, I must see some unfinished affairs near the architects. Would it be too much to ask for you to visit the Aetheryte Plaza in my stead? I shall catch up with both of you later at the Athenaeum Astrologicum. Meet the Geomancer. All right. Yokuho. Imagine us meeting here. Could it be fate? Ha ha ha, I jest. Slow down, friend. I've only just arrived in Ishgard, and already you're recruiting me to some urgent cause. You Westlanders certainly don't waste your time. I intended this to be but a short visit to discuss how matters have progressed since you vanquished Kinko and aided me in restoring my grandfather's wards. However, I suppose all that can wait. To the Athenium, then? It's good to see you again, too, General Grenard. Tilly tells me all is not well with Lady Leveva. Ah, so I see someone has wasted little time in informing every rat in the broom of matters that I thought it obvious were of a more personal nature. Oh, save the drama for the stage, my friend. Tilly merely recognized that the intimate connection Lady Leveva and I forged in Kugane made me that perfect candidate for discerning what might be weighing oh so heavily on her soul. Ah, and how do you propose to do that? Do it? I've already done it. Lady Leveva's in love. Of course she is. Wait, what? Arch enemy defeated, her father's memory honored, and a city saved. Lady Leveva has conquered the countless peaks that rose before her with an air of aplomb and that would belie her mere 16 summers. And now, bereft of purpose, she has turned her eyes to companionship to fill the void that lies agape in her heart. I believe I can help. Zilly, might you know the lonely lady's current whereabouts? As massive stone effigies to raw masculinity? Oh, it is worse than I thought. We must make haste. Yeah. I don't think she's actually in love. Too obvious, not funny enough. Look, there she is. Indeed, there she is, and then why are we here? I was afraid you might ask that. What do you think we should do? I'm but a humble student of the geomantic arts. I have little understanding when it comes to matters of the heart. What, pray tell, are you two doing here? Greetings and salutations, my dearest Leveva. Aren't you looking most resplendent this fine morning? Splendid. Spin a few bells in the books, have we? Time will tell if this new vocabulary suits you, but time is not a luxury I am afforded at this moment. City's din is positively deafening. It stifles my thoughts and upsets my humors. What I require is clarity, something unattainable within these stone walls. The quiet of Camp Dragonhead, however, may provide me with a moment's respite. Oh, and you may cease with this ridiculous talk of matters of the heart. Love is the furthest of my worries. I, for one, am already promised to another. Already? Promised? How is that even? Ah, Kyoko. There's no need to kneel in my presence. Did I miss anything? Yeah, that was good. See, it comes as little surprise that one of her social standing would be betrothed at such a young age. Such is the custom amongst older houses, even in a city as progressive as Charlian, and she hails from one of the oldest. I suppose it's just that whether the vim and vigor from our conversation earlier, and all this upon learning Leveva is to be married, a more astute observant might presume a certain emotional attachment to our young protege. But that would be ludicrous. I, for one, know that good Gyoko's feelings towards Leveva are naught but those of admiration for her skill at the astromantic arts. So let us return to the task at hand. We still do not know what is weighing down on the lady's fragile heart. What better way to find out than to ask? A novel idea, don't you think? Asking someone what is troubling them rather than assuming, without having actually spoken with them or even seen them for some time, that they're simply longing for amorous relations. Wonderful. Kyoko and I shall return to the Athenaeum, where I will make certain he refrains from idle meddlement in any other lives. The Dragon Head. Be on the wall. As persistent as always. Fine, you have seen through my ruse. I am not, in fact, promised to another. I simply implied as much to silence Kyoko. Right, there was a time I was promised to another. We have my grandfather to thank for that. However, since I am now officially deceased, my assumption is that the arrangement will have been annulled. Not that I shall ever bother to actually confirm this assumption. What is troubling me? It was not my intention to involve you or Jenna Quinard or even Gyoko in such matters. However, the discord my silence has sown perhaps warrants an explanation. Despite repeated efforts following our recent achievements in Kugane, I have been unable to conceive feasible means of blending the teachings of Charlian astrology and those of Far Eastern geomancy. As Kyoko explained, unlike astrologians who look to the stars above to read their fates, geomancers look to the star below and listen to its songs and draw their answers from its whispers. Yet try as I might, I remain impotent in tapping the land's puissance. I've spent my life attuning to the slight variations in the ether of distant stars, so much so that when I look to Heidelin and her ether, I am overwhelmed by its potency, its glow, you could say. Think of it as trying to open one of the heaven's gates in a world of everlasting daylight. World of everlasting daylight. About that. You have visited such a place? Then my readings were accurate. Exactly where have your adventures taken you? You had no trouble channeling the ether from that world's heavens, despite the fact that you never once physically laid eyes upon them. Intriguing, but I am a woman of reason and shall require more than the word of another, no matter how close, to convince me of this phenomenon. A first-hand demonstration, however, might suffice, a single aspected benefit, perhaps. This one? No, that's... Can't remember which one it is. Offhand. Which one's aspected benefit? The last one. It's always the last one. Your faculty for ethereally conversing with celestial bodies both far and near is peerless, a most eloquent display, and one I should endeavor to learn from. I've committed the most grievous of sins by allowing things such as light, distance, and dimension, things that hold no dominion over the realm of ethereal, to prevent me from unbinding my full potential. You, however, helped me to realize the error in my ways. I believe now I might continue my studies. Just not here. I am unsure why I thought this would be a suitable location to ponder my predicament in the first place. Perhaps it was the memories of our first lesson here. Ahem. Let us hurry back to the Athenaeum lest we catch cold. Foundation. Foremost, I believe I owe you both an apology, or at least I owe you one, Jenna Bernard. As for you, Kyoko, how did you arrive at the ridiculous notion that I was somehow languishing in the throes of love? Zilly and I and Janakard mentioned you. You were not yourself after returning from Kugane. I simply assumed that. You dare suggest that we had any hand in this, Kyoko? You were not a quarter bell in the pillars before you were telling anyone who would listen about the cavernous maw that yawned in the heart of poor lonely Master Rufin and how you were to fill it. Lonely, pa. I'm far from lonely. In fact, I've already promised my heart to another. Of course, already promised to a... Wait, what? You heard me, and I've never spoken a truer word. Whoever could it be? It is certainly not Zilly or heavens for Finn, Kyoko. By astrology, of course. What? Who did you expect? Pimperain? Suppose you're wondering what brought me to Ishgard in the first place. It most certainly wasn't to ruffle Master Rufin's feathers, though it seems I have succeeded in that nonetheless. Triumph over Kinko having restored the people of Kugane's faith in geomancy, it was not long before the gaggle of eager mages were clamoring at my door, seeking guidance in the art of wind and water. To accommodate, I transformed my grandfather's study into a place where I might train those who are willing to invest the time and effort necessary to become masters, which reminds me, my students are likely wondering where their sensei is. Farewell, Zilly. It was quick. A fast trip. He came to tell us of his new school of geomancy. Did we not give him a link pearl? At any rate, allow me to thank you once again for the inspiration you provided. Despite being your mentor in matters astrological, I find myself consistently in your debt when it comes to, well, everything else. You are a true friend and confidant. As always, she has once again failed to acknowledge that it was I who first noticed her change in mood, and that it was my reading that predicted your arrival, and that it was my good judgment that eventually pointed you in her direction. Such is my destiny, I suppose. I'm simply happy that Lady Leveva is back to her normal self. If aught were to befall her, Rufin would haunt me till the 8th Umbral era. Thank you again. I would say we make a fine team, but considering you cover the Curl's share of the footwork, I will refrain from any further analogies of a sporting nature. Level 80, Love Astrologically. Complete. Stars in our faults 4.